I'm sorry to bother you, but I've never seen anything like this.
It seemed like new flowers were constantly popping up. The hills were still partly bare, but the lower canopy of the forest was starting to come to life. It was a fascinating time. If you took the time to look for them, you'd notice new details every day. My mom was working away on the yard and the gardens, and also on orders for all of you guys, making masks, bags, shirts, and playing around with her creative ideas.
What's in here?
A bag that I made.
Getting shipped out?
Yeah, she's in Canada.
She's always making something. Check out her Instagram at Joyce and Coffee and email her if you're interested in any of her handmade goods.
Well, I have one like this.
Really?
And on one Sunday drive to a family walk, the blooming valley proved summer was near.
It's the fire in the rain.
Yeah, I just
It's the smile within the pain.
Oh, he wouldn't believe that.
It's the logic but insane. You cannot know from where it came. It's the way you cross the floor before you head on out the door. It's the figure on the wall. So many times I heed the call. It's the silence of the room, the way you turn before you bloom. Another shadow for the blind. I think I'm gonna lose my mind. Although I'm running up a hill, I feel I'm always standing still. I can't remember where I've been. I don't know where I should begin. I don't know where I should begin.
If the grass is growing up, we won't know if the benefits are way. Remember you fell down on the way there before? And now we won't even go see if there's like a hole. So.
And on our walk, we came across a blooming apple tree at the top of a dandelion-covered field. It had perfect climbing branches, so I hopped up in, and I felt like I was transported. The bees were pollinating all the flowers, hundreds of them. It felt like they formed a humming cocoon around the tree. I could feel their vibrations in my whole body. I've never experienced anything like it. Come here and listen to the bees. It's the coolest.
Should have it in a second.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Look how many bees there are.
Are those just basic honeybees? Yeah, right?
Bumble.
But they're bumblebees. They're all bumblebees. Right? I was chased by bees at Rick, what's his name's house, the guy that lives.
Survived that. And so they have to do new workers in the spring, and they meet together pollen.
Now, how is it that the queen survived though? They know Caesar or
They you want me to come on there? They
1 mile straight uphill,
see, I do.
followed by
No, I don't like to start off. No, I wouldn't mind it like if a mile out when you're loosened up. No, I don't. I never liked it.
I can't wait to come back to the humming tree in the fall. The views from the top of this little knoll are breathtaking. And throughout May, the trout insects started hatching like crazy.
You know that when they become a spinner, when they enter the spinner stage, the tails double in length.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw it.
The trait of the spinner. So when you see the long tails, you know it's a spinner. That these didn't just hatch; they came out of the trees. But I saw some coming out of the water over there. Though.
This hole? Is this deep enough?
I caught one there because I don't think I've caught. Well, all the fish I've caught have been coming down through. I like fishing all this pocket water. It's all good.
I see.
Fish are all through there. I've never gotten one in the pool.
I've never seen more mayflies in my life than I did this spring.
I've caught some good ones right here.
I believe it.
Right there, you know? When it's a little lower, it's too high now for a fly fly.
Huddy.
You're so cute, honey.
And finally, it was time to transform my parents' front porch into summer mode. They screen it in and use it mostly as wood storage for the winter. But in the summer, it's plants and comfy chairs. The best place to sit during a summer thunderstorm. And the main railing needs to be replaced. I figured I'd do it this summer or fall if I can find the time. There's just so many little projects. I ate Sunday dinners with my parents all throughout May, and we had a beautiful little routine going.
Front porch is all redone.
Thank you. Excellent.
Can't wait to see it.
And then one morning, I woke up with the sun and drove to one of my favorite spots to film the earth coming alive. It was a glorious sunny morning, with the smell of strong coffee and sweet gasoline. The sound of the morning birds always makes me smile. And then when I was turning around on this old back road, I didn't realize how deep the mud was and I got stuck. So I spent some time digging around the tires and using rocks and wood to try to get out, but had no luck. It was about 6:30 a.m. when I called Johnny Boy as he was pulling into work. I could hear NPR on in the background of his truck. Said if he hadn't have just pulled onto the job site, he would have came. So then I called Mason, and he was just getting up. He called me back and said his girlfriend Yolani could come by and give me a hand, but that it'd be a bit before she got there. So I enjoyed my time being stuck. I walked around observing the forest when I noticed something lining the road. An ephemeral flower that blooms in colonies every spring, some of which are dated to up to 300 years old. The trout lily. A beautiful yellow flower with markings on the leaves similar to a wild trout. So I sat down and sketched one in my little red book, and then practiced one of my songs.
You've seen every mountain and every road.
You got yourself stuck.
I did.
Gorgeous though down here.
I know. Have you been up here?
Good spot. No.
I've never been to the end of the road, so I was turning around to get out of here. And
So did you make it to the end of the road?
no, I only went down like another 100 yards or so.
Yeah.
And
Didn't want to back out the whole way.
no, I thought that might be a bit much. That's a great shirt. Wow. Is that from that place in Great Barrington?
No, it's from Goodwill. I know which place you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I know that place.
That's a hell of a Goodwill find.
Yeah, I know.
God damn. Thank you so much for coming out and saving me.
No problem. No problem at all. Okay. All right. Go.
Boy. Gun it backwards.
Backwards. At a sharp turn so that you don't go into the same ruts.
We could put the rock in the heart of it. Or sure,
Yeah,
put it.
yeah. Oh, I've never heard that before. Alright, well, let's try to get you out of this. Hopefully maybe it's just the chain in the way or something.
I hope so.
Yeah, alright.
Yolani brought chains and a manual winch, and little by little, we worked our way out. And before long, Old Blue was free. Yolani is such a smart and handy woman. I'm grateful she came to save me. Though I don't think either of us minded starting our day in the spring mud of the sunny forest. And before heading back to town, I tried a little fishing. No luck. Still no trout on a fly rod this year. Then I stopped at a local farm to meet Noah, where we were signing up for CSA. Every week from June to October, we get an armful of fresh vegetables. Perfect for cookouts all summer long.
Wow. I had quite the morning.
At the beach, right?
I didn't get up there.
And then I explored a bit more and found the first real explosion of foliage I had seen yet this year. And the beautiful spring days kept coming. And one day in mid-May, I met my dad to go fly fishing.
Since you're on time, I was wondering if you can help me move your rocket box. Right on top of it. Get here on time so I could ask him to move something.
Yeah.
And I set up Johnny's minnow trap like he asked me for when we go pond fishing for the big hogs.
Have you ever heard Dylan's song?
I can remember. Yeah.
The water was still a little high, but there were tons of insects. We couldn't figure out why we weren't getting any strikes.
That's it. Those are two brook trout come together right there. Oh my God. Those are multiple streams, no doubt. When I first met him, first time.
And on one of our outings, we saw caddis flies like you couldn't believe. It felt like a blizzard out on the water. The trout loved these bugs, and yet there we were, not a single strike. Hatch after hatch in front of our eyes, and new life all around us. Even though we never caught anything, we saw some of the most beautiful spring displays you could ask for. And like any good fisherman knows, catching fish is just a bonus anyway. And as the days went by, the hills outside my window started catching color. I had many beautiful and peaceful mornings in my apartment, waking up to the sound of the morning birds. And Carl and I made the local Ohio paper, the last Sunday issue they'll ever print before switching to online. I can't wait to stop by and see him on my next road trip adventure. I turned the basement of my office into a makeshift gym so I could stay in shape while the gyms are closed. It's been fun working out this way and a good challenge. It forces you to get out of your normal routine and get creative with your workouts. The most vital tools I've used during this have been resistance bands and a 60-pound weighted vest. With those two things, you can hit just about any muscle. And the weather warmed up enough that it was finally time to install the AC in the office. And as more and more of you guys signed up for my Patreon, I spent many days writing notes and packing up care packages to send out. It's been really fun building this community, and I really can't thank you guys enough for supporting me the way you do. And then one day I sat down and turned my trout lily sketch into a full design. a symbol of ephemeral beauty. And for me, a reminder not to get upset when you're stuck. To slow down and appreciate where you are. I put it on some merch, and I also updated my store with some other new designs. There will always be a link in the video description to shop.
Little nip. So did you make any progress on the bears? Look at whoa! So low to the ground. Yeah. It's so cool, look.
Here we are now.
There we are. She moves.
Slam 6, man. Leaning tower power.
The car broke down. I thought, well, you know, I'll bike this summer. And then I just sort of kept doing it. So.
Where's your main bike now?
Well, the one up on the porch is one I use quite a bit.
How many miles a day?
Well, it's, yeah, I go about 60 or 100 miles or something.
And then one day, Mason and I went to visit a guy who's a friend of both of our families. He doesn't own a car, but rather rides his bikes everywhere. Neither of us had ever been to his humble abode, so we stopped by one golden afternoon and got a tour.
Why don't you guys come in?
Yeah. Wow, it's so cozy.
Regional museums, galleries, historic sites with secure climate-controlled storage, trucking, freight installation, and rigging. ArchiveFineArt.net. Now the WAMC regional weather.
So this is the main hangout?
Well, maybe, yeah. And I've been out there sailing on the Hudson River, racing next to the Coast Guard cutters. This is something people were doing in the 19th century in New York on the Hudson River. Well, all over the world, in places people use ice boats, but yeah, they go faster than the wind because you're creating a vacuum, a partial vacuum on the front part of your sail, which is how a sailboat works.
Right.
And so it just draws you faster and faster.
This is how a wing in an airplane works. It's the same principle. It creates lift. It creates low pressure. The pressure on the side of the wing, the bottom of the wing, the air is moving, you know, the speed that you're flying at, basically, or moving at if you're on the ground, and the wind, as the air goes over the wing, it's forced to travel faster, and creates.
Yeah, because I also imagine it's like because the air on the top of the wing is traveling faster to get around the curve.
Right.
The molecules are further apart from each other.
Right.
And therefore it's a partial vacuum.
Right. We were just talking about barometers and pressure on our way up here, and how barometers work.
You heat up your house in the winter, and you open the door. Some cold air comes in, but you shut the door, and you know you're warm, and you have this mass of air in the house, which has been warmed up. And I began thinking about that mass. How much mass is that? And more specifically, how much does the air that's inside your house weigh?
You got to think of air as a fluid. It's like water, basically.
I mean, it's already crept in under the doors
everywhere.
and through the locks and stuff, and so we're basically just like scuba divers here, sitting in the air.
Right.
And so I was wondering, how much does the air weigh inside my house? So I just made a calculation, starting with the fact that 15 pounds per square inch is what the air pressure is, right? And one day, I was having lunch with my father, And I told him that I'd calculated how much the air weighed inside my house. And I asked him if he'd like to guess. 300 pounds, he said, which is exactly what I had calculated. He was half senile at the time, you know.
No, you just need to build the bookshelf.
You got right. Yeah.
Is that going to go in here?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm having second thoughts about it, but
Why?
well, just because I don't want to fill up. I don't want to clutter up, you know.
It was a fascinating visit. He told us great stories and showed us really cool memorabilia. And then he made us coffee over the stove.
That's the easiest way to make coffee. I can't believe I've never done that.
Yeah. Cowboy coffee, right?
Yeah.
And it was damn good, too. Seemed like it tasted even better in the evening for some reason.
Last time this house got worked on was in 1920.
Wow.
A break, you know, to bend the metal.
Yeah.
And that's what they call
And before we left, I took a few film photos that came out really cool. Small town life during the 2020 pandemic. By the way, all the film photos I shoot are available exclusively on my Patreon. And Mason, if you're watching, we got to get back there and split those logs for him like we said we would.
And I said we were going to go to Lenox, but maybe we just go to Windsor Pond or something.
Yeah, that would be cool. A lot cooler. Much rather do that than
You're ready for this summer. Don't act like you're complaining about it. I gotten way too much sun the past couple of days.
No, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
He was like just so bummed out that I had to leave.
This is like a paradise, dude.
I know.
And one afternoon, Johnny took me to see his property for the first time.
I own everything that way, and this way about 200 feet that way up to the left. It was full, nobody brought garbage off this place for it, really.
It's a thriving jungle in the middle of a hectic town, with a cool old bridge, a meadow full of wildflowers, endless trees, and a stream full of fish.
You got all these wildflowers?
Don't you love it, man?
This is...
Out that way.
Oh. Man, this spot is going to be worth a lot in the future.
I know.
How many acres?
Let's walk through it. Like, basically, like, dude, I am so proud of mine. She did not like it for the longest time.
She doesn't have that?
Yeah. Look at my apple trees flowering.
Where? Oh, beautiful.
Way up. Isn't that the biggest apple tree you've ever seen?
That is a very tall apple tree.
It's a huge apple tree.
This feels like summer right now.
I know, dude. And wait till it's summer. When it's summer here, it feels like Louisiana.
I get that
like
vibe.
Everything like is hanging down. It's so lush.
Are you kidding me, dude? Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What? This thing is...
And they bubble out of the ground. Guys, because I have a feeling that the people effect will
bypass.
And afterwards, we headed towards a little project Johnny's been scheming up in the background. We need a big machine to make the driveway at my cabin, and he also needs to work on the driveway at his property. John Hayes for a local farmer who has an old backhoe that hasn't run in a while. But we can get it for cheap. We just got to get it running.
So, where are the injectors? When you say this is injectors? Look at him. He's like, I'll lift anything. Right? Isn't that what he says?
Oh yeah. This is a great, our shadows on it.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to get, I'll be right back.
It's so great. We just gotta find the injectors. Which are gonna be on top.
But this thing is cool as all
Dude,
hell.
it is. And it's actually in pretty good condition. And we will go check out the other fucking rip this shit from life, man.
Are you kidding me?
And there's also an old Dodge dump truck we could get in the deal.
Like, I mean, dude,
The board on the seat.
you can do with it. Then you're winning. This is everything you need.
Seriously.
And after Johnny went home that night, I stopped at Mason's.
Would you?
Help you?
I've got a new sound. I just want you to hear it.
What's your...
A little bit. Toasty. It's
coming.
It's spring. It's spring, dude. I mean, it's summer almost. It feels like the
It feels like already feels like almost summer.
It
Those
does.
warm days. It's already here.
The lower canopy is full. Totally bright lime green.
Yeah, it's all the beech trees,
Yeah, they come first.
and they go last too.
They do, and they hold on
They
forever.
have crazy colors, especially right now. It is lime. It's like,
The spectrum.
yeah.
Never thought about that.
And there's a disease that's killing all of them.
Fungal.
I think so. Hey, come check this out.
Oh shit.
I'm gonna try pickling them.
Pickle.
Yeah. Pickled fiddles.
Pickled fiddles. Those will probably be delicious. Oh my god. You got a haircut.
And then my good friend Rob came for a day. The guy from the Great Red Truck debacle. We hadn't seen each other since that trip. It had been almost 2 years.
What? Wait, with the hot dogs and whatnot?
You're like,
Okay.
you're driving, bro. I don't know what. I'm going in right now. Get a bowl.
That's the only way.
And we had a hell of a day adventuring. It really felt like barefoot summer was here.
Close your eyes, get around your skin. All it is matters, let it in. If I could, I would be right here with you. In this world of ticking clocks, I hope I'm getting through.
This is so cool down in here. These rocks are so soft. They are.
It's cool to see.
So close your eyes, you feel the same. Only thing that
clean up?
matters
Duster?
when I change,
Sick, dude.
I will let you in.
Have a look.
We can be everything we want. Oh, stop the clocks, the bees are humming in between the contrasts of our souls.
We climbed all the way up the jams.
You bastards.
Up the center.
You bastards. Oh, God,
You had the
I'm
putts.
so ready for a swim.
Let's get it.
That was good. That's one of my favorite things in the movie.
Blue bag. Yeah, it's been off the whole time.
Oh, it's not recording, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, at least we got some footage.
Honestly, probably sick if it's the time lapse.
Stop the clocks, the bees are humming in between the contrasts of our souls.
It's a beautiful property, actually. Wait till you see.
He definitely wanted us to put a nap in
What do you call that? Who's got the... And we all met at Johnny's property for a nice outdoor dinner by the stream. And Robbie's a chef, so we were all in for a treat.
Cool. I love hearing you say that. Let's get up on the bridge, Kyle.
Sure. I'll take one.
So Jack jumped from there to there, dude. Isn't
Where?
it nuts?
Where to where?
Side to side.
Really?
Middle.
Who's that?
I don't know, one of those places. We got a lot. This is the product.
Oh, daddy. Something bad is, well, good is happening to that garlic.
That is a big piece of meat right there.
Right?
Johnny, jump to the other one.
I feel so at home at Johnny's property. It's just so beautiful and peaceful. Yet you can hear Jake brakes from 18-wheelers shattering the silence every few minutes. There's something about that balance, being tucked away with the reminder that the rest of the world is right there. It's one of a kind.
Fearless.
Get up on your feet. Get up on your feet. Go. It's so hard for me to not like be in a cook mentality.
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm sure.
And I'm just like, oh, put everything where it should be. I'm like I organized and
Yeah.
everything is. What am I doing?
And I caught my first fish on a fly rod at Johnny's property. It was small and it wasn't a trout, but still so much fun.
sunset's beautiful, dude. The sky's all pink.
We go catch some.
Will you try? Sure.
And then on the ride home, Rob and I had one of the most surreal spring experiences you could imagine. A baby deer was in the middle of the road, so I stopped and it came right over to me. Oh my gosh. Hi.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I've never seen anything like this. You're so cute.
It's truly been the most beautiful spring I've ever lived, and my soul feels full. I just can't wait to see what summer holds for us damn good kids.